Daniel never thought much happened on a quiet relay station floating in the middle of deep space. His job was simple: check the signal relays, run maintenance reports, and make sure messages from one side of the galaxy reached the other. It wasn't glamorous, but it was steady work, and it gave him time to read, watch old movies, and enjoy long hours staring out at the stars. Most days felt the same: empty hallways, the soft hum of the station's systems, and the occasional cargo ship passing through without much conversation. That's why the alert caught his attention so quickly. The station's computer announced an incoming distress signal, its voice calm but urgent. Daniel's fingers flew across the console as he brought up the details. A small shuttle was approaching at reduced speed, its navigation system failing. The message was short and slightly distorted, but he could make out a voice requesting emergency docking clearance. Within minutes, Daniel had sent the clearance code and began preparing the docking bay. He didn't expect anything unusual, probably just another trader with a busted system. But when the shuttle landed, he realized this was different. The airlock opened, and out stepped someone unlike anyone he had ever seen in his life. She was tall, slender, and carried herself with a kind of calm grace. Her skin had a faint silver-blue shimmer, as if tiny crystals were mixed into it, catching the light in a way that made her seem to glow. Her eyes were even more remarkable, deep and clear, but filled with a soft, swirling pattern, almost like the sky during a quiet storm. She wore a lightweight suit with small symbols along the collar, none of which Daniel recognized. "Thank you," she said, her voice warm and steady. "I am Lyra of the Atarian star cluster. My shuttle's navigation failed during travel. I'm grateful for your assistance." Daniel, momentarily caught staring, quickly nodded. "You're welcome. You can use our repair bay while we fix your systems. How long have you been traveling?" 17 standard cycles, she replied. "I was delivering trade agreements to nearby colonies when the failure occurred." Her tone was polite but not rushed, as though she believed taking time to speak was part of proper manners. Daniel guided her toward the repair team, though on a small station like theirs, team usually meant 2 engineers and a service bot. He explained how they'd work on the shuttle, estimating it might take 2 or 3 days before it was ready to fly again. Lyra listened carefully, nodding every so often. He noticed something about the way she looked at him, not sharply, not in a way that made him uncomfortable, but with genuine focus, as if she was memorizing the details of his face, his voice, and even the way he moved. He assumed it was because she wasn't used to humans. After all, humans were still new to much of the galaxy's trade network. They walked through the station's central corridor, the lights casting a soft glow on the metal floors. Daniel tried not to stare, but it was hard to ignore her presence. There was a calm energy about her, a way she seemed completely at ease even in an unfamiliar place. He offered her a temporary guest room, standard procedure for visitors needing extended repairs, and showed her how to use the station's amenities. She thanked him again with the same polite smile and told him she would like to visit the observation lounge later. As he left her to rest, Daniel thought about how unusual this was. The station almost never had alien visitors stay overnight, and certainly not someone from as far away as the Atarian cluster. He reminded himself to keep things professional. She was just another traveler passing through, and once her ship was fixed, she'd be gone. Later, during his shift, Daniel sat at his console reviewing transmission logs. The quiet hum of the station filled the air, the kind of background noise he barely noticed anymore. Then the sound of soft footsteps drew his attention. Lyra entered the room, her eyes catching the light from the console screens. "I hope I'm not disturbing your work," she said gently. "Not at all," Daniel replied. "Just routine checks. Is everything all right in your quarters?" "Yes," she said, stepping closer to look at the star map on the main display. "I simply wished to see how humans watch the stars," Daniel smiled faintly. "Look at them," he said with a small shrug. "But they're beautiful to us, even if we can't reach most of them." Lyra studied the map for a moment longer, then glanced at him. "On my world, we believe the stars are windows to other lives. Every light you see belongs to someone's home, someone's memories." Daniel found himself unexpectedly intrigued. That's a nice way to think about it. They talked for a while, about her travels, about the long months she spent in hyperspace, and about how different worlds greeted strangers. She seemed especially curious about human customs, asking about handshakes, names, and why humans often smiled when they met someone new. Daniel explained each one, though he thought it was just a casual cultural exchange. What he didn't know was that Lyra wasn't just making small talk. In her culture, speaking like this with a human wasn't simply conversation. It was preparation. She had traditions to follow, and Daniel, without realizing it, was now part of them. But at that moment, he was just glad for the company in the quiet station. When she finally excused herself, Daniel watched her leave, wondering why her presence felt so different. He shook his head and returned to his work, deciding it was nothing more than the novelty of meeting someone from so far away. He had no idea that this was only the beginning, and that Lyra's idea of a greeting would be something he could never have imagined. The engineers worked steadily on Lyra's shuttle, running diagnostic scans and replacing damaged navigation components. Daniel checked in with them after his shift, and as expected, they confirmed it would take at least 2 more days before the ship was ready. Lyra didn't seem upset by the delay. In fact, she appeared almost relieved to have time to stay on the station. The next day, Daniel found her in the observation lounge. It was a wide, quiet space with large windows that gave a breathtaking view of the stars and the swirling colors of a distant nebula. She was seated near the glass, her hands resting calmly on her lap, gazing outward as if she were reading some invisible text written across the sky. When Daniel approached, she turned her head and gave him a small smile. "Do you come here often?" she asked. "Whenever I can," Daniel replied, pulling up a seat beside her. "It's the best view on the station." She tilted her head slightly. "I can see why. Your eyes change when you look at the stars. They reflect more light." Daniel chuckled. "That's just how human eyes work, I guess." But Lyra didn't seem to think it was just a casual observation. She studied him for a moment longer, her gaze calm and steady, before asking another question. "Do humans always look at the stars in silence?" "Not always," Daniel said. "Sometimes we talk about them. Sometimes we make up stories about constellations. And sometimes we just sit and think." She nodded thoughtfully. "On my homeworld, we tell the stars our names when we travel far from home. It is said the light carries our voice to those who miss us." Daniel smiled at that, thinking it was a poetic custom. "Sounds like a nice tradition." She turned her attention back to the nebula. "And what do you tell the stars?" He thought for a moment. "I guess I've never told them anything. Maybe I should try it." For the next hour, they talked about different customs. Lyra asked about meals, greetings, and even the way humans used their hands to gesture during conversation. She seemed particularly curious about touch, handshakes, pats on the back, and why people sometimes touched someone's arm when speaking to them. Daniel explained it was a sign of friendliness or comfort. Her questions didn't feel intrusive, though. She listened intently, as if each answer was a piece of a puzzle she was assembling in her mind. Sometimes she would pause mid-sentence, studying him with that same thoughtful look, but she never explained what she was thinking. Later, that afternoon, Daniel invited her to join him in the station's small dining hall. They shared a simple meal, nutrient stew for him, a bright translucent dish she brought from her own supplies for herself. The dish glowed faintly, and Daniel couldn't help but ask what it was. "Star fruit gel," she explained. "It keeps well in long journeys. On my world, it is given to guests as a sign of welcome." He grinned. "So I'm officially a guest now?" She looked at him as though the question was unnecessary. "From the moment you opened the airlock." They spent most of the evening talking. She asked about Earth's oceans, about its changing seasons, and about the sound of rain. Daniel answered as best he could, describing the cool smell of fresh rain on soil and how waves crashed on the shore. She listened with her eyes half closed, as if picturing it in her mind. Occasionally, he noticed her fingers brushing lightly against the table, tracing shapes that disappeared as soon as she finished them. Once, he leaned over to see what she was drawing, but she shifted her hand quickly and said it was just a habit. That night, as Daniel returned to his quarters, he thought about how unusual the day had been. She wasn't like the few alien travelers he'd met before, who tended to keep conversations short and to the point. Lyra seemed genuinely interested in every detail of his life and culture, no matter how small. He assumed it was just curiosity. After all, humans were still relatively new to many regions of the galaxy. The next morning, he found her in the station's common area. She had arranged a small set of glowing crystals on the table in a curved pattern. They pulsed faintly, casting soft light across the metal surface. "Decoration?" he asked with a smile. "A greeting path," she said simply. Daniel frowned slightly. "A what?" She glanced up. "It is part of my people's custom when meeting humans. I am making sure it is correct." He laughed lightly, thinking she was joking. "Well, I'm flattered. Does it involve stepping through them or something?" She didn't answer directly, only saying, "You will see when the time comes." That response left him curious, but she changed the subject quickly, asking about the different ways humans celebrated special occasions. They spent the rest of the day walking through parts of the station she hadn't seen yet. The engineering deck, the small hydroponic garden, and even the maintenance tunnels. She asked questions everywhere they went, always focused on details others might overlook. Daniel began to feel like he was part of some kind of slow, careful study. But he didn't mind. It wasn't often that he had company on the station, and her presence was a welcome break from the usual monotony. What he didn't realize was that she wasn't studying him just for curiosity's sake. Everything she learned, the way he moved his hands, the sound of his voice, the way he reacted to certain questions, was part of something more important to her. Something she hadn't told him yet. That night, just before she left for her quarters, she said quietly, "When my shuttle is ready, I would like to share a moment from my culture with you. It is only done once between two people, and it is remembered for life." Daniel assumed she meant some formal goodbye gesture or polite exchange of words. He smiled and agreed without hesitation. He didn't know it yet, but what she had in mind was nothing like any greeting he had ever experienced. One day, something happened that no one in the danger squad expected. The school received news of a threat from a rival group. This group was a gang of students from another planet who did not like the danger squad. They wanted to cause trouble and show that they were stronger. The rival gang planned to sabotage the danger squad's training and make them look weak. The news spread quickly, and everyone in the danger squad became nervous. The girls talked quietly, worried about what might happen. Captain Zara gathered the class and told them, "This is not just a test anymore. We must work together to protect our school and our team. We need a plan." Alex listened carefully. He felt a mix of fear and determination. He knew this was a real challenge, one that could prove if he truly belonged in the class. The girls looked at him differently now, waiting to see if he could help. At first, the girls tried to come up with ideas on their own. Some wanted to fight the rival gang head-on, while others suggested hiding or running away. The group began to argue. It seemed like old habits were coming back. The strong girls wanted to show power, and the others felt unsure. Alex stood up and smiled. "We can't fight each other," he said calmly. "If we don't work as a team, we will lose. We need to think carefully and use our brains, not just our strength." The girls were quiet for a moment. Then, slowly, they began to listen. Alex started to suggest a plan. "Let's find out what the rival gang is planning first. If we know their moves, we can stop them before they start. Some of you are good at spying and gathering information. Others are fast and strong. We can all work together." The girls nodded. They trusted Alex's calm voice and steady smile. Lyra, the strong girl who had challenged Alex on the first day, said, "Okay, human boy, let's see if your plan works." They split into small teams. Some girls went to watch the rival gang's activities from a distance. Others prepared defenses. Around the school, Alex stayed with the leaders, helping them organize and communicate. During the next few days, the Danger Squad worked harder than ever. They practiced their skills and shared information. Alex helped keep everyone calm and focused. Whenever girls felt tired or scared, he smiled and reminded them that they were stronger together. One night, the rival gang tried to sneak into the school. They wanted to damage the training equipment and scare the students, but the Danger Squad was ready. Thanks to Alex's plan and the girls' hard work, they caught the intruders quickly. The girls stood together, strong and brave. Alex smiled at them proudly. "We did it," he said simply. The girls cheered, happy and relieved. Captain Zara praised the whole class. "You showed true courage and teamwork. This is what it means to be part of the Danger Squad." And Alex, your calm thinking and smile helped bring the team together. From that day, the girls no longer saw Alex as just the new boy. They saw him as a leader and a friend. His smile was a sign of hope in difficult times. The Danger Squad was no longer just a group of dangerous girls. They were a strong team that trusted each other. Alex felt proud, but he also knew there were many more challenges ahead. He was ready to face them with his smile and his new friends by his side. After the big challenge with the rival gang, something changed inside the Danger Squad. The girls who had been cold or distant towards Alex started to warm up. They no longer saw him just as the new human boy who had joined their dangerous class. They saw him as someone they could trust, someone who was part of their team. Each girl in the class had her own story. Some came from planets far away. Some had faced tough battles, and some had grown up in very different worlds. Alex wanted to know about them, and he was ready to share his own story, too. Slowly, the walls between them began to break. Lyra, the strongest girl in the class, started to talk to Alex more. She told him about her life on a planet where strength was everything. She had always fought to prove herself. Alex listened carefully and smiled. He told her that strength was important, but kindness and teamwork were just as powerful. Lyra thought about this and realized she could trust Alex's words. Another girl, Miko, who was serious and quiet, showed Alex how to improve his fighting moves. She was surprised that Alex wanted to learn so much. She had never met a boy who worked harder than the girls. Miko began to respect him not just as a teammate, but as a friend. Zara, the girl who had first asked Alex about his smile, became one of his closest friends. She shared her fears and dreams with him, and Alex helped her believe in herself. Together they trained harder and helped the other girls do their best. The class started to change in small but important ways. They began to help each other instead of competing. They shared ideas and skills. When someone made a mistake, others helped instead of laughing or getting angry. The dangerous girls became a team that cared. Alex's smile was at the center of this change. It was not just a friendly face, it was a sign of hope. When the girls felt tired or worried, Alex smiled and reminded them to keep going. His calm and happy attitude gave them strength. One day, Captain Zara announced a new challenge. This time, it was a test of teamwork and trust. The girls had to work in pairs to solve a complex mission. The mission was designed to be hard. It required each pair to rely on each other's strengths and to communicate perfectly. Alex was paired with Lyra. At first, they found it difficult to work together. Lyra wanted to rush ahead and do things her way, while Alex wanted to plan carefully and listen. They argued quietly during the mission. But then Alex smiled and said, "Let's try your way first, and if it doesn't work, we can try my way." Lyra laughed. She liked his calm attitude. They tried her plan, but it didn't work well. Then they tried Alex's plan, and it worked perfectly. They finished the mission together and felt proud. Other pairs in the class also learned to trust each other. They realized that everyone had something special to offer. No one was better or worse. They were stronger when they worked as a team. The change in the class surprised many people in the school. Teachers and students from other classes noticed that the Danger Squad was not just dangerous, they were united and strong. The girls themselves felt happier and more confident. Alex knew that this was just the beginning. There would be more challenges ahead, but he felt ready. He had learned that true strength was not only about fighting or being fast, it was about trust, kindness, and believing in each other. The most dangerous girl class in the galaxy was no longer just a group to fear. They had become a team to admire, and Alex's smile was the reason why. As the year went on, the Danger Squad became known not just as the most dangerous girls in the galaxy, but as a team full of courage, trust, and friendship. Alex had become a part of this special group, and his smile was a symbol of hope and strength. He had changed the way everyone saw the class, and in many ways the girls had changed him too. The final challenge of the year was announced by Captain Zara. It was a big event called the Galactic Trial. This test was meant to be the toughest mission ever given to students at the school. It would push everyone to their limits, physically, mentally, and emotionally. The whole school was watching to see how the Danger Squad would perform. Alex and the girls prepared for weeks. They trained hard, planned carefully, and helped each other grow stronger. The bond between them had become unbreakable. Alex's smile was there in every practice session, encouraging his teammates when they felt tired or doubtful. When the day of the Galactic Trial arrived, the Danger Squad stood together, ready. They faced many obstacles: dangerous terrain, tricky puzzles, and unexpected surprises. The mission tested everything they had learned. At times it seemed impossible to succeed, but the girls remembered what Alex had taught them: to stay calm, to trust each other, and to never lose hope. During the mission, Alex showed great leadership. He encouraged the girls to keep going, even when things looked difficult. His smile helped everyone stay positive. When one girl tripped and got hurt, Alex was there to help her up and make sure she was okay. When the team faced a confusing puzzle, Alex stayed calm and helped them find the answer together. The mission was hard, but the Danger Squad never gave up. They used all their skills and their teamwork to overcome every challenge. By the end, they reached the final goal, completing the Galactic Trial successfully. The whole school cheered for them. Captain Zara was proud. She told the class, "You have all shown what it means to be brave and strong. You faced danger, worked as one, and never gave up. And Alex, your smile and courage helped change this class forever." The Danger Squad was no longer just a group to be feared. They had become a legend. Other students looked up to them, not just for their skills, but for their kindness and teamwork. Alex had proven that a human boy could stand strong among the galaxy's best, and his smile was a reminder that courage comes from the heart. After the trial, the girls celebrated together. They laughed, shared stories, and made promises to stay friends no matter where life took them. Alex felt happy and proud. He had come a long way from being the nervous boy who walked into the most dangerous girl class in the galaxy. Now, he was part of a family. As the year ended, Alex looked at the stars from his window. He smiled, knowing that this was only the beginning of his journey. The galaxy was full of challenges, but he had learned that with a smile, courage, and friends by your side, anything was possible. And so, the story of the human boy who entered the most dangerous girl class in the galaxy and smiled became a tale told by many, a true story of bravery, friendship, and hope that would inspire others for years to come. As the year went on, the Danger Squad became known not just as the most dangerous girls in the galaxy, but as a team full of courage, trust, and friendship. Alex had become a part of this special group, and his smile was a symbol